Well, much of the anxiety from election officials and experts in the post-election period involves the certification of the election. But there's a new law in effect for the first time this election that's intended to increase voter confidence in the process.
So it's called the Electoral Count Reform Act. And joining us now to tell us how it would work is James Sample, constitutional law expert at Hofstra. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So we just heard this guy and Lisa's story there say that he doesn't believe in the process. But I mean, something like this is meant to bolster confidence. Talk to us about how it would work this year.
So there was an Electoral Count Act, and this is the Electoral Count Reform Act. That original law dated to 1887. And if you think about that, what we saw in 2020, that law wasn't responsible for all of the breakdowns, all of the chaos in the certification process, but it was responsible for a good portion of it. We don't take horses and buggies to certify the election anymore.
Right.
That's essentially what we had as a process in place. So this was a bipartisan effort, it was passed in 2022. So 2 years ago, both parties got together, recognizing some of the problems that occurred in 2020 election. And this process, it sets out some firm deadlines. December 11th is the date by which the votes are canvassed and certified. Then those certified electors go to the Electoral College on December 17th. It makes the process in Congress much more streamlined. Yeah. It's a much more professionalized process.
And it also sort of clarifies that the vice president's role in this whole thing is purely ceremonial, right?
Sure. In 2020, that was obviously the big controversy and the effort to get Mike Pence to not certify the election. It was made clear to Mike Pence, though the then President Trump certainly disagreed, but Pence was advised, and this law is consistent with the advice he received. It makes it express that that role is purely ministerial. The job, in this case, it'll be Vice President Harris who will be doing the certification, whether she wins or not.
Now, this law does allow for some challenges. So talk to us a little bit about maybe these loopholes that do still exist.
Well, I would think of them less as loopholes and more as opportunities for challenges. There are challenges that can be meritorious. There are challenges that can be frivolous. And what this law does is it creates an express pathway for those challenges to go directly to federal court. And so there's a role for the federal courts to play that puts the certification process on an expedited pathway and allows the judicial process to play out so that we don't have those lingering questions and competing slates of electors. Is it perfect? No. Are there still opportunities to potentially manipulate the process? Of course, as with any process. But this process is significantly better, and both parties really agree on that.
Yeah, you know, it is interesting, right? This is going to be the stress test for it, this first time out, the first election since 2020. And there is a possibility of challenges on both sides. Do you think it maintained the ability for people to sort of raise objections, but do so in a way that promotes fairness ultimately?
100%.
Yeah.
I think that was really the intention of the law. The intention is not to foreclose challenges. The intention is to kind of professionalize the processing of those challenges.
You kind of put some key dates there, December 11th. I mean, kind of paint a picture of what these next couple of weeks is. We're not done tonight. We still have a ways to go.
Correct. Obviously, news organizations and, frankly, the American public wants to know sooner rather than later. But we never actually, at no point, even when we've called elections on election night, those are still not official election totals. Over the next several days is a process that has always played itself out. It's just usually been a little bit behind the scenes because the margins were such that, other than Florida in 2000, we didn't have to sort of pay such close attention.
This is a dead heat.
This is a dead heat. It could be very close in a number of swing states. That process is known as the canvassing, and it really makes clear that there are a number of checks at each level, sort of redundancies that are intentionally built in to increase the confidence, and the American people really should have confidence in a safe and secure election.
Yeah, you know, the voting process is so fascinating because you've got 50 states all doing their own thing, making their own rules. Ultimately, though, to get the federal election winners named, it's pretty interesting how it all comes out in the end.
Your provisional ballots. I mean, we still got some time to get those counts in.
Certainly, and particularly in some of the swing states. You know, Pennsylvania is not allowed to count those mail-in ballots, or they're not allowed to start counting them until today. Right. With all the mail-in ballots, do not expect that the close states and close races will be called anytime soon.
Yeah. All right. James Sample, we appreciate it. Good stuff.
Thank you.
All right.